The film opens with an office worker driving to his job when, out of nowhere, he loses his vision. Everything turns completely white. As cars pile up behind him, confused passersby try to help, but the man is in shock, unable to speak or make sense of what's happening. One man offers to drive him home, knowing he can no longer drive or walk on his own. The man drives him home, but as soon as the worker gets out of the car, the stranger speeds off with it. Thinking he's been robbed, the worker shouts in distress, until the man surprisingly returns to help him into his apartment. This man, who turns out to be a thief, begins asking the worker probing questions. What floor he lives on, if there's anyone else at home, clearly trying to take advantage of the man's sudden blindness. The worker grows suspicious and thanks him just to get him out of the house, but the thief uses the opportunity to slip away with the car keys and vanishes. Left alone, the worker waits for his wife to return. When she arrives, she finds a broken dish and her husband asleep on the couch with a cut on his hand. Alarmed, she asks why he's home early. He explains that he suddenly went blind and begs her to take him to an eye doctor immediately. They rush to the clinic, and the doctor is stunned to find that the man's eyes are perfectly healthy. He schedules brain function tests for the next morning to investigate the mysterious blindness. Meanwhile, the thief is joyriding in the stolen car. When he spots a traffic officer, he panics and veers down a side street. The officer gives chase. Trapped by a blocked road, the thief abandons the car and tries to climb a wall, but is suddenly struck by the same white blindness. Later, the doctor is seen examining a woman and her son. That evening, he tells his wife over dinner about the strange case he encountered. They go to bed, unaware that the city is about to be engulfed in an epidemic. That night, the blindness spreads rapidly, infecting more and more people at a terrifying pace. The next morning, the doctor wakes up blind. Fearing he's contagious, he urges his wife to stay away, but she refuses to leave his side. She calls a colleague, who tells her the hospital is overwhelmed with similar cases and that the government is isolating the infected in a quarantine facility. An ambulance arrives to take the doctor away. His wife insists on accompanying him, but the authorities refuse. Desperate, she lies, pretending she too has gone blind. The government announces the rising number of cases and reassures the public that the infected are being quarantined. The doctor and his wife arrive at the facility and find themselves the first to be admitted. She chooses a ward near the food and medicine entrance, hoping to manage better there. Over time, more patients arrive, including the office worker, the thief, the mother, and a boy who's not her son. The worker recognizes the thief's voice, and a fight breaks out, until the doctor and his wife intervene. Later, the boy asks to go to the bathroom, and the doctor's wife helps him. Meanwhile, the thief tries to assault the mother, but she kicks him hard in self-defense. The doctor and his wife rush in to treat his injury. The next day, another group arrives. This time, the worker's wife is among them. The doctor's wife welcomes them and helps assign beds. She and her husband plead with the guards for medicine to treat the thief's wound, but the soldiers threaten to shoot anyone who steps outside. Food is distributed to each ward, and the doctor's wife, still the only person with sight, begins assisting everyone with eating. As the number of patients grows, so do her responsibilities. The infection begins spreading among the blind. An elderly man arrives with a radio, bringing grim news. The epidemic has gone global. Quarantine camps are being established, but the disease is spreading at an unstoppable rate. Many infected people are dying. World leaders scramble to find the cause, but no answers emerge. As ministers and presidents go blind, society collapses. Busy streets turn into ghost towns. The infected despair, their lives in ruins. More and more patients flood into the facility. When 3 new arrivals try to escape, soldiers shoot them. The doctor proposes burying the dead, but the others refuse. Meanwhile, the thief's leg becomes severely infected and needs amputation. The doctor's wife is overwhelmed, helpless. That night, the thief begs the guards for help. One unmasked soldier kills him and flees. The next day, a man who declares himself the king takes over the ward. Speaking through a microphone, he announces that he controls all the food. From now on, patients must pay in money or gold. When the food arrives, the king and his men hoard it, threatening others with guns. Driven by hunger, the doctor offers watches and jewelry, but is given only 2 crates, and warned not to argue. Frustrated, the doctor lashes out at his wife, only to be comforted by the mother. He gives in to temptation and cheats on his wife. Though she knows, she says nothing, resigned to the nightmare they're living through. A week later, the king tightens his grip, refusing to feed other wards unless women are offered in exchange. The men resist, but the doctor's wife convinces the women to make the sacrifice. They endure assault, and one of them dies. Enraged, the doctor's wife kills the king and his men. She warns the rest of his gang to back off. They barricade themselves in a ward, but one of the women sets it ablaze. The fire spreads through the entire facility. The patients flee and find the soldiers have disappeared, likely blinded like the rest. The doctor's wife leads everyone back into the deserted city. They enter a shop looking for food, but find empty shelves. She heads to the basement and discovers hidden supplies. However, the starving crowd smells the food and attacks, forcing her to escape. Suddenly, rain begins to fall. The group rejoices, stripping down and showering in the street. But the doctor's wife feels a growing dread, fearing this might be the end of humanity. She leads them all back to her home, where they finally eat and drink. As they gather, the old man wonders what caused this disaster. The mother blames mankind's endless wars. The doctor believes people will adapt, only to fight again. But the old man insists it's a warning, a chance to reflect on their lives and their faith. The group begins to pray. The next morning, the office worker starts to regain his sight, slowly, but surely. He shares the news, sparking hope that the blindness may soon end. The doctor's wife feels a spark of optimism, believing life might return to normal. And since the worker was the first to be infected, perhaps he'll be the first of many to be healed.